Hello, Hassel from Hassel Reviews here. In a better mood now that I've calmed down after getting through planes. But still in a mood where, shall I actually say, I'm in a more perplexed mood because I don't think I've seen a show that has left me so mixed or unsure what I think of it. Kind of like Echo. Yeah, I'm finally getting to Echo. Yeah, um, so when I first saw, Maya Lopez, aka Echo, in the Hawkeye's Disney Plus series, I really did enjoy the character. I found her appealing. I thought her story was pretty cool. She was well acted. I loved everything about her, and I was like, I want to know more about her. I want to know more about her past. I want to know more about her relationship with Kingpin. I wanted to find out what would her background and her Native American culture and all that. And when I heard we were getting a spin-off series dedicated to it, I was like, great. Um, Regardless of the deteriorating quality of the MCU at the moment, I was at least still willing to see this because at the very least I was saying this wasn't going to be totally connected to what's been going on at the moment. And I can appreciate that. This is a smaller story on a smaller scale. Go ahead. Um, but when all 5 episodes were released, and I watched all of them back to back. I did not intend to originally. I wanted to just take it at least day by day. But I was like, you know what? It I've got the day off. It'll only take me about 2.5 hours. I'll do it. Um, yeah, I can see why this has left a lot of people divided. Yeah, and I don't know if I can call this good or bad or whatever, like it's a strange show to even talk about. Well, in terms of what I think, but let's just get on with the plot. Taking place after the events of the Hawkeye series, Maya Lopez has has escaped from New York and he is hiding out in her old hometown to avoid the mafia after she shot Kingpin in the eye. He's still alive. I mean, everyone knew that Kingpin would have survived that. I mean, why else would they bring Vincent D'Onofrio and back only just to kill him off in, I don't know, 1.5 episodes? And even before we knew of the Daredevil reboot series. So yeah. While she's back in her hometown, she wants to keep a low profile, not alert too many of her distant relatives to know that she's back. As her father had a falling out with her father and her had a falling out with him after her mother passed away. Fair enough, but there are some issues with that. I'll get to that later. Um, Her plan is to, but eventually her past with Kingpin catches up with her, and once Kingpin figures out her location, he he sends his associates to kidnap Maya. Af- And yeah, it's up to Maya to survive and keep her family out of her life in New York. Okay, so the story itself isn't really that. It's a basic story, but when it tries to explain things is when things get a little bit complicated. And well, not so much the Maya King, the Maya and Maya Lopez Wilson Fisk history. That's handled well. Yeah, and I will give credit to them that the performances are all handled, all done really well. Especially, I like Cox who plays Maya, being a deaf actress, with her sign language is a really does a really good job, and I love her for it. But by far the biggest standout is Vincent D'Onofrio returning as Kingpin. Any scene that Kingpin's in, it's it's really good. I mean, it doesn't matter if the script isn't really that good. D'Onofrio finds a way to make it work for Kingpin, and it's really handled well. And as I said, I really enjoy yeah anything with any scene with Cox or D'Onofrio is just perfect. It's just great. And I like learning more about Maya's background and her Native American roots and all that. And I do appreciate this series being more graphic compared to standard Marvel stuff that we're getting. I mean, we're going to get a lot. We're probably going to get a bit of a graphic, or well, a bit of a different tone when we get to when Deadpool 3 does come out this year. But yeah, I appreciate something like this, and it fits with, in particular, with Kingpin Street and Street Punk's lifestyle. But where things fall flat is with everything else. Like, well, the performances from everyone is handled well. The new characters aren't so much, in particular, Maya's family. Um, there is just, but there is two in particular that stand out to me as handled poorly. First off is the one. What Maya does let some of her relatives know. She doesn't let the one person she doesn't want to know that she's back in town is her cousin. It was the closest with her before she moved away. Her father and her moved away after her mother's death. And there is a point where Maya's cousin finds out, but Maya still doesn't want to reveal anything. Like, I mean, come on, by now you got to at least tell what's going on, and especially when you get to the end when Kingpin, you know, demands, Kingpin, corners Maya. It's still handled well, not handled well, especially with how he managed to find the cousin. I don't know. Was it the lead scene? I don't care. The biggest one is the grandmother, is Maya's grandmother. She was the one who pushed Maya and her father away after her daughter's death. And she's apprehensive of Maya even coming back, doesn't want to even see her. It's not until Maya begins to, awaken to a spiritual side of her family that, you know, her one of her relatives takes her to see her grandmother, that we learn more about it. But basically, the reason why she turned it back on Maya is because she reminded her too much of her mother, and she was more angry with her father rather than Maya. But regardless of that, she still refused to even speak with her when Maya was still grieving over the loss of her mother. You know, I I totally understand why Maya would feel the way she is with her. I mean, look, I understand these things when it comes to the death of a relative. Every member of the family will handle it differently. But the way, at the very least, it's hard to say if I really agree with this character. And when I don't know, the fact she makes the dress that Maya later wears to save everyone from Kingpin is a bit of a coping mechanism. I don't know. And even when comes face to face with Kingpin, not knowing who he is, she talks, passionately about her granddaughter, and I'm like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's just from the way this character is handled, I just don't see it working. I don't know if I don't like her on the same scale as, say, Kamala's mother in Miss Marvel, but I can't. I think they're both teetering on the same scale for different aspects. Yeah, yeah. The action isn't really impressive in this. Like, you can tell this was on a lower budget and everything. Um, as I said, I think Maya Stanley needed more development. Daredevil shows up for about, I don't know, 30 seconds. Why was he even in it? You didn't even need him. Just pick another guy who's wrecking Kingpin's business, and have Maya go after him in the opening. And the biggest issue I find is the Native American culture. I think for a series that delves more into this specific, tribal culture in a full series, to me, I felt like it was the the tribal culture handled in the Kahuri episode of What If season 2 was a lot better than everything in Echo. Like, I don't know, I just found that spiritual side and the Kahori episode, really was really well done. Well, this I just didn't see it. So I don't know. How does a 40-minute episode stack with how does an episode of a animated spin-off series set in alternate realities that only goes for 40 minutes handle Native American culture in my view better than a 2.5 hour series set in the main continuity. I'm just saying it. If you thought it was handled better in this, okay, but I didn't see it. Um, so yeah, this is a very middle of the road series. Like, I would not go back to this at any point. I mean, I don't go back on the bad stuff of the MCU too much. Well, okay. I've not gone back to She-Hulk, to be honest, and Secret Invasion. I have not gone back to them. Even yeah, I just can't go back to those shows. The bad movies I can go back to, and the movies that aren't as perfect, well, the weaker movies in the MCU, I can go back to and watch them fine. The weaker shows, I can't, or I can't watch specific, or or I can watch them, but I don't watch specific episodes. This is one of the ones I have no intention of going back to. Who knows? Maybe one day, like when we finally get to the end of the multiverse saga, maybe I might watch everything that was released from Phase 4 to Phase 6 and see if I can work out further continuity. You know, obviously once the Granite Picture's finally out, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. Um, yeah, I give us a 5 out of 10 out of stars, but that's very. It's more. It's a middle of the road thing, but I would definitely put it closer to the bottom, the lower end of the middle spectrum. Yeah. In terms of what's next, I'm gonna actually do a short film. Yeah, I'm gonna do a short film review. Yeah, maybe a shorter video, but I want to get this done because, well, I've got a lot to talk about this one, considering my love of the author. So in the meantime, Hazard from Hazard Reviews is out, and I shall see you for my next video. Ciao.